पागल हो गए हो? दिमाग खराब है? Mentally retarded हो? Do you know the term mentally retarded was actually used for people who suffer from mental illness. But because of being blown out of proportion, this term is now considered derogatory to use for people with mental illness. So, what happened there? Now, just to put things straight, this video is strictly not based on our opinions. Or is it? We all just gathered data from around the web and dumped it here to speak it in front of you guys. Now to start with, India has more than 130 million people who suffer from mental illness. That's around 4 times the entire population of Canada. And also, India is the most depressed and most anxious country in the world. Well, we always wanted to be best at something, right? Even the president of our country thinks, and I quote, India is in a mental health epidemic. And I think he's right, not because there's a rise in the rate of mental disabilities, but because 80% of people don't even go for treatments or therapies when they require them. By the way, India is stigmatized about mental illness. And it doesn't just really stop there. It's the same with physical disabilities as well. I mean, really, you can stop watching the video if you do not feel bichara after watching a person on a wheelchair. Wheelchair has become the national symbol for sympathy. The sympathy that we show to make ourselves feel better. And trust me, there's nothing worse than to feel bichara towards someone. India has a huge history where people with disabilities are often looked as wicked or deceitful, or as people who cannot progress to adulthood and are often dependent on charity and pity for assistance. In other words, bechara. Now yes, people can argue that there's just one psychiatrist over every 4 lakh people in India. Lack of specialists can be termed as one of the reasons for stigma in our country, but not the only one. The biggest reason of the stigma is how a society has evolved in the past on seeing and understanding the people with disabilities in a very weird way. Bollywood has often reinforced negative stereotypes about people with disabilities. One of the recurrent themes that has been around for long is that disability is some sort of a punishment for misdeeds. And in TV serials, it has been worse. I mean, I still have horrible memories about the mental asylum I used to see in those soaps as a kid. And not only this, the trend has even traveled to students who were studying medical science. I mean, come on, it's goddamn healthcare. In a study conducted in a medical college of South India, it was found that around 60% of students behaved strangely while talking to a person with psychiatric disorder, while the rest 40 felt comfortable in talking to them. Anyway, the stigma also prevails when someone with a disability is born in a family. For example, parents usually go for having another child or consider sending their disabled one to an orphanage. Did you know? Around 90% of children who end up in orphanages have at least one parent alive, and an alarming rate of those children are usually disabled. We need to break this stigma, and we need to do it fast, because right now somebody dies by taking their life every 40 seconds, which means 3 to 4 people might have died while you were watching this video, and we can't even imagine how many of them are due to mental illnesses. Look, I'm not trying to say that it's all gloomy and dull over here. I do feel that there have been some great developments about it. Deepika Padukone came out and talked about her depression. AIB and other influencers are speaking about their mental health problems too. Even our government introduced a mental health bill last year. I know it's not perfect, but still, it's a step in the right direction. And that is the need of the hour, to speak about it. It's like the Tata Sky ad. पूछने में क्या जाता है? Anyway, you're gonna spend money and talk to a stranger in a white coat? At least start with a friend. It is important that you open up and speak about it, so that at least those around you get comfortable discussing it. It took us years to say sex in front of camera or people, but even now there are some who would cringe at it. Similarly, I understand that it will take time, but at least start talking about it. Because as someone somewhere said, बात करके देखो अच्छा लगता है.
क्या है यार?